Hello dear students, once again welcome you all for Power System Operation and Control class. In the previous class, we have seen the different methods of hydrothermal scheduling. In that, we are seeing the first method called scheduling energy. So now we will see the second method, that is called as discrete time interval method. It's a general algorithm for hydrothermal scheduling. As we know that hydrothermal scheduling is nothing but the main thing is two plants, one from thermal plant, another is hydel plant, is connected togetherly to meet the demand. The major function here is minimize the cost of thermal plant depending upon the availability of the hydel plant. This is the main thing. So for in this method, instead of a continuous time, we will be having a discrete time intervals. So this is called as a discrete time interval method. So before entering to this method, we will have a mathematical formulation of this objective function, because we are going to modeling this method now. So we need to have a mathematical models. So let us consider a time period of operation is T max, total period of operation is T max. So we need to have the following assumptions. The first assumption is the storage of reservoir is specified at the beginning and end period. So beginning and end period of the storage reservoir should be specified. Second one is water inflow should be known. And third one, load demand is known for the entire period. Till the end of the T max period, we should know the load demand. So now we will see what is the objective function for this discrete time interval method. Obviously, this is to make the minimize of the total fuel cost of the thermal plant depending upon the water availability. That means we have to determine the rate of water discharge to minimize the cost of the thermal generation. This is the mathematical thing. Means to make the minimizing the cost of thermal plant, what is the water availability should be required in the idle plant. This is what the condition now. So our objective function is nothing but now minimizing the ft is equal to integration of 0 to t max, that is the period from starting 0 to t max, f dash of pgt of t dt. So here it is minimizing the cost of fuel of the thermal plant. So ft is the total fuel cost, we know. So let us see the operational constants. So what are the operational constants need to be taken? The constants are, you know what you mean by constants. So let us see. First one is the constraint of power balance. This is the first constraint, where at any time t the active power has to be balanced between the generation and the demand. This one we are knowing. The power balance is nothing but what? There should be a balance between demand and generation. So what is this? Pgt of t. This is continuous. Okay, it's t, small t is given, it means it is continuous time. Pgt t plus pgh t means thermal generation in time t, idle generation in time t, minus p loss of t minus pd of t equal to 0, means total generation by both thermal and idle must be equal to total demand and total loss during the period time t. Okay, and water availability constraint is given by st max minus s of 0 minus integration of q in of t dt plus integration of q naught t dt, where the integration period is 0 to t max, where s of t max is the storage at the end of the period, it's given in meter cube, and s of 0 is the storage at the beginning of the period. So this is what the storage at end and beginning, that is t max is at the end, s of 0 is at the beginning. So this is what the constraint of the water availability. Then the constraint on hydro power generated is given by pgh of t, means in time t the power generated using the hydro plant is given by, it is a function of water storage and water outflow. So this is the main thing. Okay, now we will go for a discretization of the function. So let us divide the total time period t max into n number of intervals. Okay, instead of continuous time, we are going to make it as n intervals. Okay, say if you are having 1 hour, you are going to make a 5 minutes 20 intervals like that. Okay, total t max is divided into n subintervals, and each is of time delta t. Okay, all the variables remain fixed within the subintervals. Now discretization of the fuel cost first. See, we have seen f of pgt of t is there, minimizing the function. If it is discretization, means that instead of integration it will become summation. Okay, you can see the things very clearly. In previously, minimization of ft is equal to what? It is integration of f of pgt. Now it is summation of f of pgt k. K is the period, you know. Then the same power balance equation constant will become, where pgt of t, pgdh of t was there, then that one will be now change it to pgt of k, because k is for intervals. Now pgh of k, anyhow you are seeing this different nomenclature in the previous class. Okay, once again you go through that one, you will understand p loss of k and pd of k. And we know that p loss can be expressed in terms of b coefficients that you are studied in the previous semester. Okay, so P loss can be given by BTT PGT square plus 2 BTH PGT PGH plus 2 BHH PGH square, that you are studied in the previous B coefficient. Once again you call back that things. Okay, now the same water availability is discretized. This ST max will become SK and S of 0 become SK minus 1, and Q in is multiplied by, here delta t is there, dt is will become now delta t. Once again the same q naught is discretized as q naught raised to k, and delta t is equal to 0. So if you dividing this whole equation by delta t, then s of s raised to k will become s star raised to k, s star raised to k minus 1, q in raised to k, q naught raised to k, because already delta t is we are divided, and the numerator side delta t will become vanishes, because of it is getting divided by that delta t by both RHS and LHS. Now the hydropower generated is given by PGH of k is equal to 9.81 into 10 raised to minus 3 H average into Q naught k minus density. Then if you put the value of H average k at the k interval, H naught into 1 plus 0.5 E raised to S raised to k plus S raised to k minus 1. Okay, so here the different things are there. H naught is the water head corresponding to dead storage. E is the head correction factor, that is delta T by A H naught. Rho is the dead storage. A is the area of the cross section of the reservoir. So if you put this equation in the previous equation, it will become Pg k is equal to 9.8 into 10 raised to minus 3 H naught. Instead of the whatever you are having there, that total terms instead of your H average, whole this H naught term will be put. Then you are going to simplify the values. Okay, so this is what the hydropower generated is discretized. Now the dependent variables. So we can obtain the sum of all equations for K1. So means if you are go on adding, actually the equation S raised to k is for one period. No, for all the k period, that is k from k1 to n, this will become S raised to n, where S raised to k is there. K is for only one period. S raised to n means total all periods togetherly. S raised to 0 minus. So here q in k was there, that is only for one period. Now total summation for k is equal to 1 to n, same as q naught k summation will be there. Fine. So next is what we need to find out the q naught one, that is the dependent variable, and remaining all we can call it as independent variable. So you see these things clearly, this equation changes. I will take q naught 1 outside from the summation. Now the equation will become, I will take the whole equation to the RHS side, where s naught minus s naught 0 was the coming in the first, that is become plus s star raised to 0 minus s star raised to n plus here it was minus, so q in k was there. Now it will become plus summation of q in k, k1 to n, and minus summation of k from 2 to n, because already q naught is taken out, q, that is k raised to k is equal to 1 is taken outside, only k starts from 2 to n. So this is regarding the your dependent variables. Okay, next is the Lagrange function. Lagrange function is what? Lagrange function, you are knowing that it is the Lagrange function to get the minimum cost by taking what applying the your objective function plus lambda into constraints. Here three different constraints are there. That's what three lambdas are used here. Three lambdas are used here. Okay. So the solution of this discrete time interval method we'll see in the next class. Before that, you once again go through from the starting point. From where? From the mathematical modulation of the objective function, operational constraint, discretization, and dependent variable. These 4 points you make correct by your own by writing the things in your book, and ready with those. Next we will see the Lagrange's function, how to find this scheduling. Okay, thank you.